Welcome everybody to today's very special Marian Summit series. And obviously it's Easter as well. So thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. We are so excited and honored to have Father Richard Heilman, founder of the U.S. Grace Force, and also author of an incredible book that I know a lot of you already know and have. There's Anne already lifting the book up, Let Freedom Ring. So we are not going to waste any time, but hand it over to Father Richard Heilman right away so that he can share with us today. Father Rick.
Hallelujah, Christ is risen.
Truly he is risen.
I want to start out by telling you a story. When I was a priest for 10 years, two of my priest friends that I went to seminary with, we said, let's go on a sabbatical because canon law allows us to do that. So we went over to Rome to study for about 3 months. And we went everywhere. And one of the places we went, and we always wanted to go there, was the Vatican Gardens. And there we were outside the Vatican Gardens looking in. And now my priest friend, he's kind of a troublemaker. And he says, you know, I've always had this dream that one day I could have a weenie roast in the Papal Gardens. And I says, you're not making me do this. He says, come on. And so he actually got all the stuff, and there we were. We went inside the Papal Gardens, and we're having a weenie roast in the Papal Gardens. And I can't believe he gets away with everything. And all of a sudden, the gates of the Papal Gardens flew open. And I ducked into the bushes at the time, and he was frozen. He was stunned. And I looked up from the bushes, and it was John Paul II standing there. And then I went back down and I looked back up moments later, and he's standing toe to toe with my friend, and he's just frozen. He's got his little spatula with the weenie hanging off the end of the spatula, just stunned. And I look again, and John Paul II is doing this. And I says, I can't believe it. And I go back down, and I come back up again, and John Paul II's gone, and my friend is cleaning up from the weenie roast. And I run up to him, I says, I can't believe you. You get into everything. You get away with everything. You not only have a weenie roast in the Papal Gardens, but you got the Pope to give you a blessing. He says, what do you mean a blessing? I said, well, I saw him. He was doing this. What? He says, oh, he said, I want you, the hibachi grill, the guy in the bushes out of here. So I can't hear you laughing. I hope you're laughing. But anyways, so I want to start on that kind of tone because, you know, it's Easter. I don't know about you, but I'm looking around and I'm noticing the birds singing like I've never heard before. I saw a robin the other day, and I said, hello, Mr. Robin. You know, it's just a sign of spring. The church for some time now was, you know, even the statues were covered up. There was nothing in there. Now the statues are open, and we've got all these flowers everywhere. I'm walking over from church. I look up, and there's a mound, a hill behind the rectory and the church. And there's Our Lady Help of Christians on a mound. We have a beautiful, we call it the Miracle of Life Rosary Garden. And the beautiful sunrise is coming up behind it. I'm just like, thank you, God. But this all my way of saying is that, you know, this has been a long winter. Actually, it's been a long, 2020 leading into this winter as well. And I wanted to point to something that I believe has significance. You know, it was 4 days before Christmas last year that a celestial event occurred. And it was what people called the Christmas star. And I think they gave it that name because it was so close to Christmas. And I thought, you know, what are you trying to tell us, Lord? Because I always think God is trying to get our attention. And but it was the alignment, I think, with Jupiter and Saturn, but it made like this beautiful bright star. But it came right at the winter solstice. You know, that's the shortest day of the year, okay? Or else the darkest day of the year. I mean, to pick that day for this celestial event to happen, and then just before Christmas. And I thought, God, are you trying to tell us something with this celestial event? And I do think that he was trying to tell us something. You know, this was a year, and I think you endured like I did, where everyone was, all through 2020, we were living in fear of death. And then in our country, just before that, we had the elections. And I think the tyrants of death claimed victory at that time. And a lot of people were ready to just give up, to surrender, and just say, it's over. And then I thought to myself, isn't that what they did most likely as Jesus laid in the tomb? They gave up, and they thought, well, it's over. Christ is dead. And death and the tyrants of death, they won. And I think what God was doing is he was reminding us with that Christmas star that it's always darkest before the dawn. That death is not the victor, and that the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. I don't know if we got it back then, but look at now. Here just last night at Easter vigils in the Catholic Church around the world, what did we do? We blessed a fire. We blessed a fire and then took from it a very small flame from that fire, and we lit the Easter candle. And then from that Easter candle, we lit everyone else's candle throughout the church. So that small little light, and I thought to myself, the Christmas star, that small little light, when everything seemed darkness, when everything seemed hopeless, that small little light began to spread, and it filled the church. And I was talking with my people this morning and last night, and I said, not just the church though, we're called to now bring that light throughout the world. I said, you are children of the light. You are commissioned to bring that light to the world. I'm not giving up. I'm not going to surrender to death or the tyrants of death. I'm not giving in. In fact, I'm calling for a revival. We need a revival. And I said that to my parish family at the Easter celebrations. I said, now look at these flowers. Look at these flowers. That altar was barren. We couldn't even see the statues. That was so much like last year. We just got statistics in our country that less than 50% now of Christians belong to a church. I mean, it was only a couple of decades ago where it was over 70%. It kind of rode that number for many, many years. And now it's below 50%. And I think that a lot of that has to do because I think people despaired. We prayed, God, where were you? Again, that's probably what they felt as Jesus laid in the tomb. It's over. We prayed. We thought, I mean, come on, just a week ago, you were on top of the donkey. We spread palm branches on the road. What happened? And I think a lot of people are there. But I feel a revival is coming. The year 2020, right? It points to like 2020 vision. I think we're seeing clearly. I think we're understanding more what the devil's up to. That's kind of what that Let Freedom Ring book was all about. We need to call him out. We need to investigate really what is evil trying to do to us. And I believe these tyrants have been trying to tell us, and I think in a big way in the last year, but I think for decades now, that you're nothing but animals. You're nothing but animals. It's all you are. So feed the flesh. Go after your lusts. Go after your wants, because in the wilderness, that's what animals do. See, that's what true freedom is. These tyrants tell us. But you know why they want us there? Because they're the rulers. They're the owners of the animals. They want us in that place. They want us despairing that we're nothing but animals and that we can be easily corralled. We can be easily caged. We can be easily commanded what to do. And I told my people, I said, no, Death has not won. Death is not the victor, and either is death to our nobility. We are children of God. We're children of God. We're princes and princesses of the King of Kings, the King of Glory. Light has come into the world. Light has come into the world. Death is not the victor. And so I gave a definition of what is noble. Here it is: having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals. You know, we call this a battle between left and right. It's not. This is a battle between high and low. Those who want to control us, those who want to train us, right? Indoctrination. They tell us we're animals and they treat us like animals. They get us all dependent on their stuff, right? You know, I've been saying that you want to talk about racism. Let's talk about getting people dependent on handouts rather than giving the dignity of work. You know, we can get, I don't want to get into the weeds with all this stuff, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. We are noble princes and princesses of the King. Okay, that's what we're called to do. We are people of the light, but we can't aspire to that higher place without the power of God. We know this. It's called the power of supernatural grace. I've been inspired recently, and I'm on a project right now. I don't know if any of you heard, but you know, I invented the combat rosary, but my dream was always to get this to military, law enforcement, first responders. Well, one thing led to another, and we're there. We already got a ton of donations in, and we got the rosaries being made as we speak. But I said, you know what? I want to reach these people, and not just them. From combat rosaries from now on, you know what I want to do? And in the combat rosary here, I'm going to show you mine that sits in my pocket. Here it is. That's a little case. In the front zipper, you know what I want to do? I want to put a mini book in there. That's a thing. I don't know if you know that. Miniature books. Here's one that's small, but it's not going to fit in there. It's smaller than that, right? I'm putting a mini book in here, and you know what I'm doing? It's just the mini book itself is only, it's like this big, but it's going to be like 36 pages, and only the first 20 pages tell what I want them to know. And it starts out like this. I start out by saying that one day I was talking with someone, and they were asking me, you know, for some spiritual guidance. And the person didn't ask how can they be a better disciple or how to be a better Christian or anything like that. They said, how can I be supernaturally strong? And I said, that's the perfect question. I said, that's where all of us need to start, in that place. How can I be supernaturally strong? You can see I got the t-shirt on that says get strong. And that's what this is all about. But see, we're shooting for the heights, right? We're shooting for the heights, that moral and understanding the truth. We're being lied to every day. I can't turn the news on. It's like everything out of their mouth is a lie. But I'm asking people, you know, to let's aspire to that grace. But again, we can't do that without the supernatural strength of God. And so I wanted to help them with it. And that's what this little book is all about. This little book, it just lays out very concretely the essence of how you get there.